Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. According to his great mercy, he has caused us to be born again to a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, to an inheritance that is imperishable, undefiled, and unfading, kept in heaven for you, who by God's power are being guarded through faith for a salvation ready to be revealed in the last time. Join us for the 2025 G3 National Conference here in Atlanta, Georgia on September 11th through the 13th. We hope to see you there.
Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome to the Standard of Truth podcast, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I am your host, April Chapman. Happy Wednesday. It's the hump day. It's the middle of the week. It's that time where you assess where has the time gone, but it feels like there's so much more left of the week to go. Welcome to the live stream. Shout out to all of you guys who are joining us, regardless of where you are tuning in from, whether you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble or Twitter, known as X, or Facebook. I am so glad that you are here. If you would do me one quick favor, can we go ahead and like this video? Go ahead, that lets YouTube know that what you think I'm about to talk about is valuable, even though you don't really know what I'm technically going to talk about yet. I would love and appreciate if you could do that for me. Liking the video helps get it into the algorithm and lets YouTube know that content like this is valuable. And then, not just that, but I need you guys to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. If you are new here tonight, this will be my audition for you. I want to create content that honors God and touches on so many things that are going on in the culture from a biblical perspective, bringing my comedic personality and my, quiver of sarcasm to add and go along with it. So if you don't mind, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Press the bell to notify you whenever I go live. My goal is to go live at least 3 times a week. However, I do have a life outside of YouTube. So I do ask that you extend me some grace if I am unable to maintain that schedule, but by God's grace, I will do my best. So, a little bit about that, got that out the way. What I want to tell you guys is here on the Standard of Truth podcast, I feel compelled to boldly stand on biblical truth. And over here, we spend a great deal of time dissecting the cultural battles that are shaping our world. And today, we're going to be diving into one of the most insignificant developments in American politics that I believe is going to have sweeping implications for the church. We're going to be talking about the election of the first transgender member of Congress. Now, this individual goes by the name of Sarah McBride, right? Sarah McBride, formerly Tim McBride. So Sarah is going by Sarah, but Sarah is really Tim by birth. And Sarah, or Tim, now represents Delaware's at-large congressional district. And so with that information, he or she won the congressional race, and now we have our ever first trans member in Congress. So here's what I want you to know. This part is super important because this episode isn't just about politics, right? It is about the broader implications of this cultural movement. And in this moment, the biblical response from Christians, I want to discuss what should we be doing and how should we be responding in the face of such shifts. This is very important. So I do want you to go grab your Bible if you don't have one handy, get you a cup of coffee or whatever your favorite beverage is, and let's get started. So, to set the stage for this topic, what I want to do is I want to just summarize the key details surrounding this historic election. So, like I said, Sarah McBride is a Democrat. I think that's important for me to stress and to let you guys know. And Sarah, who was born Tim, is now the first openly transgender person to serve in the U.S. Congress. And so I am not trying to be disparaging. If I refer to Sarah as a he, it is because I will acknowledge that Sarah wants to be called, or Tim wants to be referred to as Sarah, but Sarah is a he. And so he secured his victory with 57.6% of the vote. That is a large percentage of Democrats in Delaware that voted for Sarah. He defeated the Republican candidate, who was John Wayland III, who was a retired police officer. And McBride campaigned on a platform that emphasized the usual Democrat talking points: expanding health care, protecting reproductive rights, also known as womb assassination, and increasing the minimum wage. I don't understand why Democrats are always advocating for increasing the minimum wage without understanding the broad implications of what that means for the economy. We don't expand and increase the minimum wage and think that that's going to create this playing field where everyone can take care of themselves. Certain jobs command a certain value. The more valuable you are, the more money you should be paid. But you should not be paid $25 an hour to do a rudimentary job that doesn't require a valuable skill, such as flipping burgers, right? My first job was at the Hallmark. I dispensed candy and checked people out when they were buying cards and little gifts and stuff. It was a $5 an hour job, and I think I got $6.25. I can't remember, but I did that job by the sweat of my brow unto the Lord. But the goal was never for me to raise a family working at the Hallmark. But anyway, that was one of the platform campaign promises that Sarah McBride was running on. And then we cannot forget, during his tenure, he focused on healthcare access, paid family and medical leave, and we cannot forget LGBTQ plus rights. In my opinion, it was always about that. We can have discussions and argue the other things that were the bedrock of his campaign, but for the most part, it had to do with baby murder and sexual perversion. But anyway, let me provide you guys with some information on Tim McBride's background and career. So McBride's political engagement began very early, right? She volunteered. If I use he or she interchangeably, it's because it's whatever comes to mind. Volunteered on political campaigns during his teenage years. We also have that he earned a bachelor's degree from American University in 2013, where he served as student body president and publicly came out as transgender in 2011. So the advocacy work of Sarah Tim McBride includes serving as the national press secretary for the Human Rights Campaign. He served there from 2016 to 2021. And then in 2020, he was elected to the Delaware State Senate, becoming the first openly transgender state senator in United States history. During his tenure, he focused on healthcare access, like I said, the paid family leave, the LGBTQ rights, the womb assassination, all of the typical things that come with progressivism. Now, let's fast forward to the 2024 congressional election. In 2024, McBride ran for Delaware's at-large congressional seat. This seat, you guys, it was vacated by Linda Blunt Rochester. And McBride won the election with 57.6% of the vote, defeating Republican candidate John Wayland III. Wayland was a retired police officer. And I I don't know what's going on in Delaware, but to be fair, local politics or state level politics is reflective of the culture in that state. This is what those people voted for, and so therefore, this is their state. That's what they wanted. Let's see. Wayland, the opponent that was running against Sarah, was focusing on reducing federal spending and limiting immigration, and even endorsing, wait for it, because y'all know this is going to get real controversial. Whew, Lord forbid. Her Republican candidate was endorsing Project 2025, a conservative plan opposing transgenderism. I have told you guys several times in the past, I have gone through the Project 2025 platform that was not Trump's platform. However, as a Christian and as a conservative, there were so many things in Project 2025 that did not scare me. I critically examined those things and felt that many of them would have been good for America. Only crazy, deranged, right? Progressive, perverted leftists really have major problems with 2025 for the most part. I'm not saying I agree with everything in it, but the opposition to the transgenderism movement was one of the things that I was like, I don't even understand what the problem is, right? So now let's do this. Now that I have given you some insight as to who Sarah McBride is, what I want to do now is I want to examine this as a cultural war, because that's really what we are dealing with right now. It is not a secret that we are in the midst of a culture war, right? This war is where there are battle lines that are drawn on issues like gender, identity, sexuality, abortion, religious freedom. These are the things that are important to a large swath of conservative America. And conservatives they are arguing like we need to return to traditional values that are rooted in objective truth. That's the conservative position. While liberals, they are pushing for what they call progress, but would often manifest as the erosion of biblical morality. Here's what I'm not saying. I have no interest in thinking or believing that every person in America is going to live like a Christian. I am not a Christian nationalist at all. I recognize that I am a sojourner passing through. This world is not my home. However, it is incumbent upon me as a Christian to examine the culture and things that are happening around me, and for the good and welfare of those in my family and my surrounding community, for me to seek the welfare of those individuals by way of, if it depends on me and I have the option to choose better, that is what I'm going to do. So, the election of Sarah McBride, I am arguing that this is a prime example of how the left is not just pushing the boundaries of societal norms, but they are actively seeking to redefine truth itself. And I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on my book. This is so important. And you guys, I am working so hard to get this book complete. But I'm working on a book, and it's called Standing Firm. And this book is going to be so important because in it, I argue vigorously that we have to defend, as believers, we have to root our arguments in the authority of Scripture. And that is the only objective standard for truth. Gender, according to God's standard, gender is an ordained reality, a God-ordained reality. You don't even have to be a Christian to affirm this, but it is true. Biology reflects this objective truth. Now, at this point, all you really have to do is be sane and in your right mind to be like, yeah, I mean, biology is pretty basic. Like, I don't believe in God, but one thing I do know is that you are either born one way or the other, and the idea that you can be something else is not rooted in reality. I want to bring your attention to Genesis 1:27. Genesis 1:27 clearly states, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. That is a direct quote from Genesis 1:27. Now, I read that But our culture has yet decided they reject that divine design. They are choosing instead to embrace confusion under the guise of tolerance, inclusivity, all of this umbrella banner of we have to just accept everything, because if we don't, then people are going to say we're bigoted and we're hateful and we're mean-spirited and judgmental. All of the terms that you can think of, they want to levy that towards you, all because you are basing and grounding your position and worldview in truth. This is not healthy. This is not normal. But your family members, your friends, your co-workers, who they want to imply that there's something wrong with you when you just, as a Christian, when you no longer want to support a party that is pushing this mess. They actually believe that you are the problem. I don't know if you've engaged with friends and family and you try to broach this conversation and say, listen, I get it, you a Democrat, we'll do you, but I'm just saying, I don't think this move is healthy for societal progress. And then they look at you when you say, I understand Sarah McBride was elected, but Sarah's Tim. Right? When you just say that, you be like, Sarah's a he. They actually believe that you're the problem because you said that. Now, deep inside, they know that you are right, but they continue down this road of foolishness because they are committed to believing a lie. And I believe that that is not something that Christians need to engage in. So before we continue, I just want to state the obvious, right? I want to state the obvious. I was talking to a friend today. Normally when I prepare for my shows, a number of things happen. My phone's ringing off the hook. Everybody's trying to holler at your girl about something. And I'm like, okay, I can't talk to you. I'm going to call you back later. I'll call you back 2 years from now. I'm just trying to prioritize. But when I'm prepared for this show, I was talking to a friend and he was like, you know what? He said, there's only one surgery that has a 100% failure rate. Do you know what that surgery is? And I'm sitting here, I'm like, y'all know sometimes I'm slow. So it takes me a while to catch up. I'm listening to him and I'm like, no, what surgery are you talking about? And he says it's gender reassignment surgery. He's like, just because you can castrate a man, that does not make him a woman. Like you can attempt to build and carve out a vagina on him all day long. And medically, that surgeon is a failure, a straight abject failure. If we dig up that same man 100 years from now, after an autopsy, it's still going to be determined that that man is a man. And he might be a man without a penis, but he still is most definitely a man. You can even go and grab you some meat and place it between your legs if you're a female and you still born a female. Right? You're still female. And these doctors are doing a disservice to people. They're doing a disservice to them because the whole idea is to convince these people that they are something that they're not, and they medically do this, which to me is more harmful than anything else. The physicians who typically engage in this, I call it medical malpractice, they are willing to perform these surgeries. They are making a fool out of these people, and they do not care. And I believe that they do this. They do this because they intend to do harm to these individuals and society at large, but because they don't care, they're motivated by money, societal pressure, whatever their why is, they do it anyway. So my argument is that sexual reassignment surgery has never been successful because walking around in a dress, switching back and forth and sashaying around with all these female-like mannerisms and wearing a wig, you're still not a woman. You can walk around here, you can put wings on your back and cluck back and forth all day long, and you still are not a chicken. Same thing. What's the difference? You might be a little touched, right? Like somebody might say, like, your cheese has someone slid off your cracker, but you're not a chicken. And you can attach some horns to your head and go out the pasture with the rest of the bulls if you want to. But you're going to find out real quick, when them bulls get a hold of you, they going to tear you behind up. You ain't a bull. Okay? It's no different. You would not let someone go out just because they got horns on and they say they're a bull and you like, yeah, about that, I don't think that's a good idea. Don't think that's a good idea. The point I'm making in all of this is there's only one side that is pushing this foolishness. And I personally, I am tired of walking past the elephant in the room. Like, we all see the elephant in the room and we're just like, oh, no, don't step on the elephant. No, it is time somebody, especially a Black woman, talk about it without fear of being canceled or labeled. Listen, there is somebody greater who has said worse about me, so I'm in good company. I'm really not worried about what you say because my life is hidden in Christ, and the excellencies of following him and being known by him is so much better than any label or name that you could put on me. So let's just deal with some truth, shall we? The truth is, the Democratic Party, that has literally become, in my opinion, the planet of the apes. Think about it. We all know it, but everybody is too afraid to say something about it. Well, I ain't scared. I'm not. And as a Christian, this should be comforting to you. Being persecuted for stating what is objectively true. Y'all, it comes with the job description. And in the spirit of my brother in the Lord, John the Baptist, I'm in good company. Now, to be fair, John did get his head cut off and served on a platter for telling the truth. But, hey, let the chopping begin. That's just where I am. Let's let the chopping begin. So, what is the biblical perspective on this issue? Right? As Christians, the first admonition that I want to leave you with is the fact that we have to acknowledge the spiritual nature of this battle. Yes, we are in a cultural war and it is a battle. Scripture reminds us, Ephesians 6:12, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. This is not just about politics. It's about the enemy's agenda to distort God's truth and to lead people away from him. See, Satan, he's slick. Satan is slick. He ain't that smart, but he is slick. He knows that he can't attack and defeat God, right? Because God is almighty. He's the creator of everyone and everything, sovereign over all. And Satan already knows he is defeated. He already knows what his end is going to be. But what he does do is he will attack the image of God in the earth. He'll come after the Imago Dei, right, in order to distort it and destroy it, because we as his image bearers, you guys, we're a reflection of God's glory in the earth. So many of us, with all these different shades of melanin, different heights, with different gifts, talents, and abilities, even in our sinful state, we are a reflection of God's glory. And since Satan can't get to or conquer God, he's coming after us. So, what are we supposed to do with this? Well, I would argue this is where the rubber meets the road. This is when Christians stay silent, we effectively aid and abet this agenda. I know you like, I don't have no parts to do with none of this, April. How is that so? Easy. In the name of tolerance, many believers, dear friends, we choose to avoid these conversations altogether. We don't want to deal with it. We're fearing that they'll come across as unloving or judgmental. But true love, it does not affirm sin. It calls people to repentance. It calls them to freedom in Christ Jesus because we love them. And when you see somebody in danger, you see them heading down a road to destroy themselves, do you just sit back and say nothing, or do you snatch them back and you offer them aid? Right? Like the left's push for these ideologies, it's not just harmful, it is spiritually dangerous. We are talking about eternity here. This is not just about our American way of life being turned upside down and getting a little uncomfortable. No, there are spiritual implications to co-signing to this. Eternity is on the line for these individuals who not only want to practice this delusion of transgenderism, but they want to push it on your children. And they want you to accept it. They want you to co-sign to it. And you're like, okay, but like, this is a really long game of make-believe. Like, how long are we going to play this? Well, the sin of tolerance, now it ain't funny no more, is it? It's not funny anymore, because now you got your first transgender person in Congress. Now we're here. And so because of the spiritual danger of this, when we as the church, when we fail to address these issues, we leave the door wide open for deception to just take root in the hearts and minds of your neighbors, our children, and even in our own pews. Oh, you thought the church was exempt? No. This ideology, it has already infiltrated churches. All you got to do is look over there at stillbirth. Yes, stillbirth. I call new birth here in Atlanta stillbirth, more commonly known as new birth. Right here in Atlanta. If you're new to this channel, I've done enough content on Jamal Bryant and stillbirth to last a lifetime. But over there, we see this type of worldview. It's not preached against, but instead it's kind of celebrated and embraced. Right? Now, he might say in theory, I don't think it's right, but because he's in bed with the Democratic Party, he ain't gonna preach against it. He's not going to admonish his people that is a spiritual war, a battle. There's not going to be any truth spoken to that issue. The ideology, it has indeed taken over Protestantism. And we are seeing too much cowardice from the people of God. Christians are literally being placed in positions where they have the opportunity to speak the truth to this, but instead they are cowering back in fear because they don't want to be labeled the bad guy. But my admonition to you is, Christians, we are told to be courageous, right? We're told to gird up our loins, act like men. And that doesn't mean us women be men. There's a context to acting like men. There's this admonition. Let me read to you from 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians, where are we? Chapter 16, verse 13. It says, be watchful. Keep your eye and your head on a swivel. Be watchful. Pay attention. No, it doesn't say the pay attention part. I'm just reading the be watchful part. Stand firm in the faith. What is this faith? Is this arbitrary belief or faith in Christ, or is it a living faith? The faith that was once for all delivered to the saints. Be watchful, stand firm in the faith. Then it says, act like men. Be strong. Y'all, this verse is Paul's final instruction to the church in Corinth. And we know the church of Corinth had some problems. They were not without error. He had to rebuke them plenty of times. Folks was sleeping with, it was wild in Corinth. And he had to put some people out because they didn't know how to act, right? You don't want to repent, you got to go. But Paul here, he is encouraging them to be vigilant, right? Be strong in their faith, to stand firm against not just temptation and false teachings, but to act with courage, to be strong, demonstrate the strength in your daily lives. The Apostle Paul, he is giving this admonition to the church, and he's giving it to us because he wants to exhort us to know how we should walk in this Christian life, how we're supposed to navigate through it. This is so important because God's word is the blueprint for what we should be doing. And so when he's giving this practical advice and exhortation to us, the church, He is literally telling us, this is what I want you to know. By inspiration of the Holy Spirit and my apostolic authority, this is how you navigate your Christian life. And so, what are we supposed to do about all this, right? Like what I'm talking about it. I believe this is a healthy and necessary conversation. But what should Christians be doing as we encounter these cultural battles, right? Like, what should we be doing? Because the reality is, this is an assault on truth. You actually have to believe that. You have to believe that this is an assault on truth. So what should we be doing? Well, first, I would argue that I just read to you about standing firm and being strong, but Paul also, he records in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2, he says, preach the word. I was like, that's my dude. Y'all love Paul. Like, John the Baptist was my dude, but Paul was that guy, right? Paul says, preach the word. Be ready in season and out of season, right? He says, reprove, rebuke, and exhort with complete patience and teaching. So here I'm like, wait a minute, silence is not an option, right? Silence is not an option. Tolerance is not an option. We must speak. Yes, use words from time to time. Speak the truth in love and engage with these cultural issues with biblical clarity and courage. Don't forget that part. Can't forget the courage part. Second, y'all, we have to model Christ-like compassion, but not at the expense of truth. We find in evangelicalism today, everybody wants to just love God, love people, and just be compassionate to the marginalized. Yeah, about that part, we show Christ-like compassion, but it's not at the expense of truth. Do not let the lefticals define compassion, because compassion is not agreeing with their delusional use of pronouns. And, my preferred pronoun this week is different than the one it was last week. Because last week I was in my feminine era, but today I'm in my No. Compassion is acknowledging that this person is dealing with some type of confusion. This person is confused. And they are struggling with a lie from Satan. Remember, that's the origin of all of this confusion and chaos and perversion, meaning perversion is literally the opposite of what something should be. And so if they're struggling with this lie that comes from the father of lies, the most loving thing that you can do is, one, use their name. Use their name, but you have to affirm what is true about them, and that is that they are made in the image of God. Yes, they have human value, and they are to be treated with dignity and respect. But my love for you, it doesn't include me lying to you. Sorry, I ain't gonna be able to do it. It does not include me lying to you. It is unloving for me to knowingly use verbiage that does not align with what is true. I can't do that. Cannot do that. And so, in this situation, if my love for you does not include me lying to you, it's easy for people to demonize us if they hear me say, I love you, but I'm not going to affirm what you're saying is true about you, because truth is knowable and it's objective. My love for you doesn't include me lying to you. And so what I do want to say about this, it is very easy to demonize people like Sarah McBride, but we must remember that she, he, like all of us, are made in the image of God, and he is desperately in need of salvation. When we bring the light of the gospel into dark places, y'all, God gets the glory. God gets the glory. So I would say we can call Tim Sarah, But I would strongly push back against being compelled and feeling pressured to call him a her when we know that that is not true. Finally, what else are we supposed to be doing? We need to pray. Praying for our leaders, which Romans 13 tells us is something we're supposed to do. You pray for your leaders. You pray for our nation. We pray for the courage to be salt and light in a world that desperately needs both. And praying includes, you got to shed light on this foolishness. Right? You got the light exposes that which is in the darkness, like before you couldn't see, and then the light shines and then you can see. You have to make sure that your friends and your family know that this is not cool. And every time that they want to talk about their hatred and derision for soon to be President-elect Donald Trump, ask them if they are okay with this. Because they vote for this. Every time they turn their head, they act like this is not happening, and they push that lever for an individual of the Democratic Party. Every time they do that, this is what they are saying. Ain't nothing wrong with this. Let's go full steam ahead. So yes, friends, the election of Sarah McBride, it is a reminder of just how far our culture has strayed from God's design. But it is also a wake-up call for the church. It's a wake-up call for the church to rise up, speak out, and stand firm. Because we cannot afford to sit on the sidelines, like hanging out in the margins, being consumed and obsessed with everything we got going on, choosing the sin of tolerance. Tolerance for sin is not loving. That is not love. It's actually compromise. And compromise has no place in the life of a believer. Yes, we all will have that Peter moment. Peter, y'all remember, he's by the fire. Peter's an apostle. Like, the foundation of the church is built like Peter. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is Peter. Peter is confronted with the situation to acknowledge the Messiah. Hey, aren't you like one of his people? Peter acting like, nope, I don't know him. Not one time, not two times, 3 times. Peter acted brand new, like he didn't know Jesus. Walked with this man for 3 years of his earthly ministry. He witnessed all of the miracles. He probably had some of the wine that was turned from water at the wedding in Cana. He ate the bread. He ate the fish. Bro walked on water. So if you think that you are not subject to compromise, you ain't better than Peter. Because I ain't walked on water. I can barely swim. I've never participated in a miracle with fish and bread that was just manifested from, we weren't there. So yes, compromise does not have place in the life of a believer. However, we are to be striving and to participate in the sin of compromise. Do not think we're not going to be judged for it, because we will. We will. So, from a biblical standpoint, one might argue that, political leaders should prioritize justice, right? Just prioritize justice and compassion and the well-being of all citizens. And so what I'm saying is transitioning children and allowing individuals who are confused and perverse to represent you isn't compassion. And it isn't seeking the well-being of all citizens. In fact, it's actually harmful. It's harmful. The federal government wants perverted men to be able to, under the auspices of equality, they're saying that biological men should have access to women's bathrooms in the federal government. Now, we have an actual gender war, an actual one now, because the Democrats, they want this and they're not going to stop. And so when I examine this situation, I'm like, well, anyone can call themselves a transgender woman. Like, who are we to question if someone is or is not really a trans woman? So once they pass this, if they're able to pass this, any weirdo Democrat can just waltz on in and watch a woman use the bathroom whenever they please. Right? The reason why I'm talking about this, I don't know if you guys are aware, but recently there was some legislation presented because now that Sarah McBride is a part of Congress, after all these years where this really wasn't a thing that we had to discuss, we have to actually decide, are we going to let the trans people use in the government buildings? What are we going to do with this? Right? We actually have to have discussions about whether or not a trans woman can go in and watch Senator Marsha Blackburn squat the pee. All because the perverted Democrats, they are pushing to pass this. Who cares about privacy? Who cares about a female's desire to not share such a private place with someone who is not a biological woman? It doesn't matter. In this situation, this is what Democrats are effectively arguing. They are arguing that the delusion of the trans person trumps what the person who is saying, hey, I don't want this. I don't want to be in this space with someone who, and here's the argument. The argument is not that all trans people are peeping toms. That is not the issue. But the issue is, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, why can't you use the restroom of the gender in which you were born, right? Like, why can't you do that? Why can't you use the bathroom for the biological sex, your own biological sex? Because I'm arguing, some of them might really want to watch women urinate because they're a pack of perverts. Listen, we need to have this conversation in the open forum because I can no longer tap dance around this and just be like, it's just, they like the clothing. No, this level of perversion where you go as far as you cutting off stuff and you are living your life this way, there's something going on there. And that's why I'm saying this is a pack of perverts. And if you vote for these people, you are aiding and abetting and supporting the perversion. You're just a pervert. You the voter, you perverted too. We also, we have some individual apostate black preachers. I was watching I think it was an Instagram live where E. Dewey Smith had the nerve to say, well, we can't legislate morality. And I said, well, you didn't have that kind of argument when we had to legislate against the immoral practice of chattel slavery here in America. Like, was chattel slavery right? No. So if chattel slavery is not right, we should be able to always fight against unjust laws. Who cares that it's the law? The whole story of America is us trying to reach the highest form of law, which is justice based on what God establishes as right and true. It's law tempered with mercy. Right? All laws, they're not just laws. We had slavery. That was an unjust law. No one is arguing that. But why is it with this, all of a sudden, when it comes to abortion, when it comes to sexual perversion, we can't legislate morality? No, you just got selective morality. And it's crazy to me that there are preachers, or so-called preachers, or so-called Christians who are advocating for this. And so, I want to read to you guys a story. In light of this Tim McBride story, I was perusing the internet, and today House Speaker Mike Johnson, who I did send a tweet to him because I thought he was compromising. So I was just like, see, this is how we got here. You trying to act like, you don't know and you don't want to say. I'm not going to, well, it's too late now. You can't pull the tweet down. But this gave me some hope that today, House Speaker Mike Johnson, he banned transgender people from using bathrooms not designated for their biological sex. I was like, okay, I see you, Mike. All right, my bad. I stand corrected. Now this happened days after Republican Representative Nancy Mace. Shout out to South Carolina. Nancy is a G, y'all. I was reading today. Nancy introduced a measure that would ban transgender women from using women's bathrooms and other facilities on Capitol Hill. I was like, okay, Nancy, I see you, sis. Let me read, quote, it says, all single-sex facilities in the Capitol Hill and house office buildings, such as restrooms, changing rooms, and locker rooms, are reserved for individuals of that biological sex, Johnson said in a statement. It is important to note that each member office has its own private restroom, and unisex restrooms are available throughout the Capitol. And I said, wait a minute. You mean to tell me Sarah McBride, who's really Tim McBride, if he's a member of Congress, they have their own bathroom? I'm like, why is this a discussion again? Right? Like, why is this a discussion again? If he, she, shim has their own bathroom. Not only that, the bathrooms they have some that are unisex. But each member, they got their own private bathroom. So I'm like, okay, all right, this is how this is gonna go down. But the bathroom restriction comes as the U.S. House is set to swear in the first openly transgender member of Congress, Delaware Rep-elect Sarah McBride. I'd also like to note that Speaker Mike Johnson said, quote, that women deserve women's only spaces. Thank you, Speaker Johnson. We really appreciate that. For you to say that is very encouraging. And I'm glad to at least hear you declare that. Can't be mad at you for that. Now, here's what I want to say about this. Because now that elect Sarah McBride, she's the member of Congress that is new, our nation's capital, y'all, it was built in 1789. And that's when George Washington was the president. And so for 245 years, men and women didn't share a bathroom. But now, here come the Democrats. Here come the Democrats and their poster boy that ultimately wants to change. They ultimately want to change what has been a self-evident truth. Right? All of a sudden, just switch it up. One day they decide, well, we want to now go into the women's bathroom. Right? One weirdo, and I'm not saying, let me be fair. Sarah McBride did not advocate for this yet. Let's make that note. And the reason why I say yet is because he, Tim McBride, Sarah McBride, has not been into office yet. However, based on the platform that this person ran on, you don't think the LGBT right to use the bathroom on Capitol Hill wouldn't have been the first line of business on his agenda? Yes, one weirdo shakes up 245 years of self-evident truth. And the fact that we are actually entertaining this, it demonstrates he's not the only weirdo. He ain't the only one. Because my question is, why is this even up for discussion? This is not hard. But I told y'all, Democrats are nasty. They're just nasty. And all the men in the Democratic Party, those beta male soy boys, Y'all nasty too. Why? Because you know this foolishness don't make no sense, but you align with this foolishness because deep inside, something's probably wrong with you too. And if you are a man in 2024 and you identify as a Democrat, you just might listen. Angela Stanton King said it first. I'm just being an echo. She has said that most men left in the Democratic Party now are undercover, homosexual, or some other special class of deviant. Yes. Why? Because men are supposed to, men are by nature, they protect women. When a man sees a woman in danger, it's like an instinct like, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to help. I'm supposed to protect. How is it that the party who believes that all women should just be believed and all women should be protected want to pass laws that allow men carte block access to our bathrooms? You don't love women. That is hatred. This is why I'm actually saying that the Democratic Party is full of misandrists. It's the party of misandry. You want these confused peeping toms to be able to just walk in, post up, and use the bathroom. That's what's been advocating. You want them to just have free reign. And in my opinion, this has nothing to do with Tim or Sarah McBride. It really doesn't. This has everything to do with a swath of the population, these perverts, who want access. They want access to places and spaces where they can just live out their perversion without fear of the law coming after them. There used to be a time when if you went into the woman's bathroom, put a little cam or webcam or something so you could see what you need to see, you would go to jail for that. But now, if we enact this law that says you can just use whoever bathroom you want, now they don't have to have fear of the law coming after them. But instead, if you try to fight or push back against this, you are the one that is supposed to fear the law coming after you just for standing up for your sister or your niece or your daughter. And you're like, listen, I don't want the women in my life that I love to have to deal with this. This is reflecting some nasty men who sit in their mama's basements looking at corn all day. And I ain't talking about on the cob. I'm saying corn, but that's not what I'm trying to say if you know what I mean. Looking at corn. And these are the ones that want these minors to come across the border on purpose for trafficking purposes. These are the freak, nasty, miscreant pedos that want to be in women's bathrooms. Yes, they want to exploit this foolishness for their own perverted, insatiably lustful hearts. The only reason, if the Democrats had control of the House and the Senate, Tim McBride would have been the next Rosa Parks. Had they had control, this would have been their little martyr. Yes, he would have introduced this legislation, pushing it on the American people, and it would have been the first order of business had the Democrats had control of the House or the Senate. But Nancy Mace, she beat them to it first. And thank goodness she did. Thank goodness Mike Johnson was like, hey, listen, I don't even understand why we have to have this discussion, but just to let y'all know, bathrooms are for how you were born. And then the unisex ones, y'all do whatever y'all want to do in there. And we really don't have to talk about any of this if you just use your own private bathroom that you automatically get. So, I want to show y'all, here's the response from the left. This is a tweet from Sarah McBride. This was her response, his response, sorry. It says, this is a blatant attempt from far right-wing extremists. See how they weaselly with words? Us just stating observable reality and self-evident truths is extreme. Not just extreme, but far-right extreme. Like what's normal is now extreme. She says, to distract from the fact that they have no real solutions to what Americans are facing lies. As of now, the Republican Party, the reason why they won is because they were the only ones presenting viable solutions to the problems that Americans are facing every day. Y'all are the ones on this cultural, nasty, perverted, choo-choo train to nowhere. No, it's going somewhere. It's going straight to hell. Y'all are the ones every waking minute. Baby murder, baby assassination, womb assassination. We need reproductive rights, and we need the right to control our own body. And we like, it's not your body, it's the baby's body. We don't really care what you do with your body, but we're not going to let you use your body and weaponize it to harness harm for the innocent. That's what we're trying to protect. But you see how they say here, we have no real solutions? I'm like, no. That's not true. All y'all offered was baby murder and sexual perversion. Because your economic plan made no sense. None. At all. Didn't include anything innovative of how to stimulate the economy and generate revenue. It included a bunch of lies and foolishness about raising taxes on the rich without realizing that, listen, rich people are smart. They don't pay taxes. If you raise the taxes on the rich, you know what they're going to do? Raise the taxes of whatever goods and services that they provide and pass it on to you. And while you're celebrating that, we're taxing the rich is laughing because they're like, yeah, okay, you the one that's going to pay this, not me. That's how it kind of works. But anyway, she says we should be focused on bringing down the cost of housing, healthcare, and childcare, not manufacturing culture wars. No. This is not a manufactured war. This is a very real, it's an active battle. We're engaged now. You guys started this and now we are here. It's not manufactured. Because if it's manufactured, why are the school systems with all the nasty perverted material on the bookshelves in the libraries? Why are little kids learning how to masturbate and get detailed, illustrated instructions on how to do nasty things that some adults shouldn't even be engaging in? I mean, if it's so manufactured, the lies. It's the lies for me. And I don't hate Sarah McBride. I don't know her. It's the lies. It's the lies for me. She goes, Delawareans sent me here to make the American dream more affordable and accessible. And that's what I'm focused on. That wasn't in your campaign platform, ma'am, sir. This is a form of jamming. We don't believe that. We don't believe that one bit. But I wanted to share that with you guys. And then there is another response from the left that I want to read to you guys. This came from Democratic Rep. Dean Phillips from Minnesota. He's from Tim Walz' state with some more perverts. He called Nancy Mace basically calling for this proposal that we need to define this and make sure that we keep these transgender people out and make them use the bathroom of their biological gender. Dean Phillips called Nancy Mace's proposal pathetic. And then he asked her what she was scared of. See how they weaponize things? And they want to turn everything into a phobia. I'm sorry. But a man that castrates himself and puts on makeup and a wig hardly scares me. I'm worried and concerned for him, but afraid I am not. So it's not a matter of fear, right? But he says, he was wondering what she was scared of. Mace fired back and said, I don't want people with penises showing them off in our locker room. And then that's when Tim McBride clapped back with the tweet. I'll put it up again. That was the clap back. Now here's an observation that I wanted to bring up, because I always, when I think of situations like this, I want to contextualize it and say, they're having this cultural war and this gender battle out there on Capitol Hill, right? But my question is, why are Black women, right? Black women who overwhelmingly supported the Harris Waltz campaign. My question is, why is it that Black women couldn't see that this would have been the main fruit of a Harris Waltz administration? Like, how is it that this just escaped us? Timber, son, Timber. Okay, baby, you gotta go sit down. Go sit down. Go sit. I'm okay. Sit. It's a live show, y'all. That's my dog. I'm gonna get to these super chats in a minute, but you guys, Black women overwhelmingly supported this woman. They supported Kamala Harris, and they supported her knowing that this was the bedrock of her campaign. The womb assassination and the transgender LGBT sexual perversion stuff, the open borders, like all of this, right? Why is it that Black women overwhelmingly supported this? Like, they were willing to compromise every one of their principles to maintain power, or the alleged appearance of power, or the alleged virtue of a Black woman in power, even if it meant causing harm to children and to future generations to come. Like, help me to understand what is going on in the minds of modern Black women today, that something as binary as, okay, I am pretty liberal and leftist, but why is the Black woman who is supposed to represent us more concerned about these things rather than coming up with a viable solution to get this economy on track? Like, we were willing, like, Black women out here down bad. Why? We carry the most debt, particularly revolving credit card debts. In terms of, even with all of our college degrees and stuff, we're consumers. And so for us to just maintain our lives between the hair and the nails and just the stuff that we consume ourselves with, we put that on the back burner so that we can push the symbolism of Kamala Harris. That was wild to me. I'm like, so it didn't even matter that the crap that's in your kids' school library that's trying to convince your daughter that she's a boy, or your son that he's a girl, that wasn't important to you. You wanted the symbolism. Wow. Anyway, let me get to these super chats. I think I have a few, not many. Y'all doing okay out there? I'm so glad that you guys have chosen to join me tonight. We're going to go to Believe Christ. Hello. He said, hey, love. I love this channel. I was wondering if you know any great churches in the Atlanta area. Keep up the good work. Hi, sister. So good to have you here. And I'm so glad to hear that you love this channel. Yes, I do know of quite a few good churches in the Atlanta area. We don't have a lot, but we do have a few. I'll run down just a few of them. And then, I would still urge you to visit, call them, vet them, ask the appropriate questions. And I'm not going to put them in any particular order. I'm not going to do that. The thing about it is they're all really spread out. So on the south side, like the South Fulton side of town, you have Berean Bible Baptist Church. That is actually my former church, and I still have great love and affection for that church. It is pastored by Roger Skeppel Sr., who, in my opinion, is one of the coldest expositors this side of the Mississippi. You talk about that man will take a text and he gonna squeeze it out till he can't squeeze it out no more. You will not walk away. You won't walk away confused. Like, what does that text really mean? No, he gonna make sure he gonna get it from the rooter to the tutor. And you will become a well-versed student of the word under his tutelage. Just saying. Berean really is a unique place, and I moved, and I live far from everything, but I really live far from Berean now. So you have that. You have up in Woodstock, you have, is it Faith? No. Rick, what's the name of your church? Fellowship? No, Lord have mercy. Faith Community? Is it Faith Community Church in Woodstock? Pastor Shane, y'all don't get upset at me. I really can't remember if it's Faith Community, Faith, Friend, Fellow. Oh, snap. Rick, if you were here, and you're probably not, I know it's Pastor Shane Kohler is the pastor, and it's in Woodstock, but I can't remember if it is. And I'm too hot. I'm too hot to Google it. I'm sorry. But you got that in Woodstock. You have 2819 Church. I've never visited there, but I have a girlfriend that attends there with Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell. Great man of God who loves the sheep and spends a considerable amount of time concerned with the sanctification of his people. And he actually preaches about sin and repentance. It's something which you don't hear lately. Who else? Faith Bible Church down in Sharpsburg. That's really far, but it's a great church. Out here on the east side of town, you got Rockdale Community Church, an amazing fellowship. You have, I don't know much about Church of the Apostles, but I do have some friends that go there and they love Church of the Apostles. It's a little bit too big for me, but it is faithful. You have Mount Vernon Baptist Church up in Sandy Springs. That's a good church. That is Pastor Aaron Minikoff. You have Atlanta Reformation Fellowship in Tucker. An amazing church. If you're looking for something small and just family friendly that really seeks to do church and do life with each other, small by design, Atlanta Reformation Fellowship is a good one. You have Smyrna Pres. Dearwell Christian goes to Smyrna Presbyterian. You have, who else? Where we go? Who we got up in Lawrenceville? I know up in Dawsonville, there's some good churches. Up in Alpharetta. But I have a church directory on my website at thestandofthetruthpodcast.com. If you're looking for a church, just go on there and put in your zip code and make it do what it do. But thank you so much, Believe Christ. We have Build Your Inheritance Globally. Thank you so much for your super chat. She sends a super sticker. Thank you for your generous love gift tonight. I'm so appreciative for that. Thank you for supporting the work that I do here. I could not do it without you guys. And then my brother Lamont. Brother Lamont says, I salute you, April, on all of this. Brother Lamont and his beautiful wife, Liberty, they've been supporting me for a good little while now. I'm so grateful for their encouragement and their support. Just a lovely couple that one day, Lord willing, I would love to meet. So, all right, let's see. Y'all doing good out there? I am almost done. Where are we at? Oh, all right. Y'all, I'm trying to cool off. So can y'all just bear with me? I'm really struggling right now. Okay, I'm really struggling. So here's what I want to do now. There's a story that I want to bring to you guys' attention that it's rooted in what we were already talking about, but I need to get serious because this is not a laughing matter and it's not funny at all. And I actually want to take a moment to bring attention to this story because it's not new, right? It's not a new story. However, I recently came across a post on X that brought awareness to it, even though it's not new. And it really caused me to be burdened. I was so burdened about this. It caused me to follow the father on X. And my goal is to eventually get this gentleman on my show. I'm going to reach out to him. Don't know if I'll have any success, but I am interested in sitting down with him. And I want to introduce you guys to Jeff Younger, right? You may have heard about this story, but the case of Jeff Younger and Anne I don't know if it's Gorgalas or Georgalas. but it's a story out of Texas. And this story has become the focal point in these discussions about gender identity and parental rights and the role of the family court system, in which all of them, in my opinion, is very problematic. So let me bring you guys up to speed. I'm going to go down this detailed timeline of events and give you guys some backstory on the story if you've never heard of it. But really quickly, in 2010, Jeff and Ann, like, they get married. Like, just a guy and a girl, they get married, 2010. 2012, the couple welcomes fraternal twin boys. They have 2 boys, right? How cute. Well, by 2015, the marriage is annulled and they end up sharing joint custody of their children, these twin boys. Now, between 2015 and 2016, one of the twins began expressing a desire to be a girl, right? So he's like, hey, and mind you, the twins were born in 2012. Like, my girls were born twins in 2012. So if by 2015, 2016, one of them begins expressing a desire to be a girl, that's right around that age. Everybody's trying to play. They play and make believe. So the mom, Gorgulas, or George Gorgulas, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. We call Georgie, right? Who is a pediatrician by trade, supports this, allowing the child to wear dresses and use feminine names, like a feminine name. So the dad, younger, he disagrees, believing his child identifies as a boy when he's with him. He's like, when he with me, he doesn't talk like this. He doesn't, I don't know why he's doing this when he's with you, but when he's with me, I don't have these kind of problems. Fast forward to 2018. The mom, she files a lawsuit to modify the custody agreement, seeking to require the father, Jeff, to affirm the child's female identity and prevent him from teaching the child otherwise. How wicked is that? Not only that, Georgie takes it a step further. She files a restraining order to keep Younger from entering the children's school or discussing the child's gender identity with others. How is this one woman given this much power? I do not know. I do not know. So that's in 2018. Then 2019, here we go, court proceedings. In October 2019, a jury rules 11-1 in favor of granting Gorgulas sole custody. So they done gave the child to the mama. Now, mind you, the mama's the one affirming this alternate reality that she has convinced herself in her mind that the son is really a girl. And in 2019, a jury, these are your peers, in an 11-1 in favor of the mom, giving her sole custody. Then a judge, Kim Cooks, overrules this decision, granting joint custody and requiring both parents to consent to any medical decisions, including those related to gender transition. Now we're in January of 2020. Judge Mary Brown reaffirms the joint custody agreement. But no sooner than August of 2021, Judge Brown awards full custody to Gorgulas, citing Younger's, the father's, failure to make timely child support payments and comply with court orders. Despite this, both parents' consent is still required for any medical transition procedures. So let me get this straight. Now, I've never gone through, some knockout, drag out divorce that, bankrupted me, but I know plenty of people. Most people I know, when they go through a contested divorce, it is not cheap. And typically, in family court, the way it works is, may the person with the longest pockets win. Whoever got deep pockets is usually the one who comes out on top in family court. That's just a fact. And I would also like to mention that family court is incredibly biased toward women. You know, the women who claim they so oppressed and marginalized and these glass ceilings and all this other stuff. Yeah, family court is swayed in the favor of most women. You don't have to like it, but it is what it is. So in this situation, if you've already gone through a divorce and a custody battle, she's a physician. We don't know what Jeff does. But is it safe to say that based on what we know about the family court system and how men are run through the ringer and are financially bankrupt after they go through a divorce and a child custody hearing, that maybe, just maybe, the amount of money that it cost him to vigorously defend himself dips into the fact that now he's got to not only pay legal fees, but now he has to pay child support. And it is plausible that he would get behind on child support payments, considering there are 2 children, they are a set of twin boys, and the divorce was filed in 2015, and they've been in a legal battle from 2015 all the way through 2021. Who you talking about bankrupt? You talking about I don't have it? I can barely take care of myself. He might have to get a second job. She's a physician. Now pediatricians are lower paid, but she's making way more money than him. And now mind you, this 2021 decision by Judge Brown did not take into consideration the well-being of this child. It had everything to do with the fact that, you behind on child support, and you didn't want to comply with the court's orders. And I'm assuming court's orders as it relates to the delusion that his ex-wife is in. They just take the child and award her with full custody when it is obvious that she is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. She's the one cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but he loses custody of his kids. Y'all, this story makes me so mad. And it makes me mad, one, because I'm the product of a single parent home. And I know what it's like to grow up deficient, where you don't have the healthy relationship with both your mama and your daddy. Now, these were different times. My parents divorced in 1984, and my mama never thought twice about keeping me away from my father. Flaws and all. That's one thing my mama was not going to do. She's like, whatever happened between me and you is between me and you, but that is your child. And I'm going to allow you access to your child whenever you want, even though you ain't paid a dime in child support. One has nothing to do with the other. I can't stand a woman who weaponizes access to the child on the basis of you got to pay to play. What is wrong with you? It's always about you. These are ratchet tangs get on my nerves. They can't manage their misery. So since they can't manage their misery, they figure, I'm gonna impress the misery that I can't manage onto you. And I'm going to keep you from your child because you won't do what I want you to do. These women will sacrifice their children, the well-being of their children, all because they want to be in control. You don't comply with what I want, so I will use this child who don't have nothing to do with this and weaponize the child against you. And you think you're hurting the child. You think you're hurting the man, but you're hurting the kid. How selfish do you have to be? How self-absorbed and narcissistically toxic do you have to be okay with a judge ruling saying, oh no, he can't see these kids? Those are his children. His children. They're not yours. They're not property. You don't own them. I tell you what, I wish I would nut up. I don't care what Robin and I go through. If something were to go down where he and I are not together, and I just think twice of taking that man's kids from him, y'all, I'm just letting y'all know. I will be 6 feet under somewhere. You will never find my body because that man will snap. he will snap. There is something to be said. Most fathers, I don't care what the public and the media try to say and talk about toxic masculinity and how bad men are. Most men will die for their children. I'm not saying all of them without distinction are this way. But you take that man's kids from him. You talk about, and you know what? I think women do this on purpose because they know it will crush him to his core. And that's what they want to do. It doesn't matter if it's going to impact that child for the rest of his or her life. You get satisfaction because you think, oh, I got your pain. You want to feel pain? Well, here's some pain for you. They take the children. They weaponize the children. They lie and make up falsehoods about the father relating to the children, knowing it's not true. And this jacked up, biased family court system, they buy it. There don't have to be any legitimate evidence. They just say it. They put that whole damsel in distress. I felt threatened. I just don't feel safe. And I just don't want him around us. All because you unstable and you're in a ratchetang. I ain't used that word in a couple of months. Y'all, an orangutan is a female imbecile who cannot manage their misery. And since they can't manage their misery, they just show out. And it's not, you ain't got to be black to be an orangutan. Listen, it is not a description of your dermal or external features. It is a behavioral trait. When I started using the word, I was very clear. I'm not calling these women orangutans. It's orangutan. Put some respect on that name. But anyway, so now he done lost custody of his kid, 2021. Despite this, both parents' consent is still required for any medical transition procedures. Then there's some further developments. In November 2021, Younger announces, the father, his candidacy for the Texas House of Representatives, aiming to outlaw gender reassignment procedures for minors. So this is a purposeful patriarch. This is a man who's like, all right, I done lost my kids to the system. And the only way I know how to fight is to advocate for other fathers. So I'm going to run for office. He runs for office. Then, December 2022, the old orangutan mama, Georgie, she moves to California with the children. In my opinion, this was very strategic. And she did this seeing that, y'all know, California wants to castrate boys, and they want little young girls to chop off their developing breasts. So the mama, she picks up their children, takes them to California, and then Jeffrey ends up petitioning the Texas Supreme Court to prevent the move, fearing the obvious. California's law might allow a medical transition without his consent. Well, what happens? This is California, California. The court dismisses his petition, noting that Gorgulas still requires Younger's permission for any medical procedure. So now they're trying to act deaf, dumb, and blind. Oh, no, you don't need to do all of that because we still have the order in place, right? That she still needs your medical consent to fully transition the boy, but that's not going to stop him. That's not going to stop the mama from sending him to the psychiatrist, indoctrinating him to make him believe that he's really a woman. It's not going to stop him from being exposed to all of this sexual perversion. The only thing you can't do is go through with the medical part and actually chemically castrate the boy. Allegedly, they're claiming he don't have nothing to worry about. So here's how I'm going to analyze this. This case highlights the wickedness of the family court system. The family court system and its decisions, especially when parents disagree on significant issues like child's gender identity, something so basic as to whether parents gave birth to a boy or a girl, right? This is not hard. And this is not something that should be litigated and adjudicated by psychopathic therapists and brain dead judges. But here we are. This is what you wanted, Democrats. You got whole families going through this foolishness because you think it ain't no big deal. Just let them live. This is what they want to do. If he feel like a girl, who are we to say? Who are we to judge? Throw science out the window, basically. Throw science out the window. Throw it out the window. Forget observable reality. Just forget everything that makes sense that's rooted in objectivity. You supposed to get on board with this because, it's just the wave of the future. Now, there are critics who argue that the court system favored the mom, potentially undermining the father's parental rights and concerns. Well, no kidding, Sherlock. We know that. I'm arguing that this court case, it absolutely proves and demonstrates that the role and value of a father is insignificant. Men, y'all, at this point, y'all ain't that important. The culture is telling you that the role and value of a father means absolutely nothing today. It is matriarchal squalor for the win. It is all about the matriarchy from the court system on down. Even if it permanently destroys society, permanently damages the child that is forced to be subject to his crazy mama's selfish and psychotic decisions, it don't matter. It don't matter. This fatherhood, masculinity, do not tell me it is not under attack. Because there used to be a time in this country where women, regardless of what was going on between them and the father, she would, at the very least, she wouldn't act a fool when it came to them kids. Why? Because it was understood kids need both parents and, we couldn't work it out. But what we're not going to do, we're going to figure out for the sake of the kids, you can see your kids. Nope. These are ratchet-tang, rebellious hyenas. They will stop at nothing to destroy everything. Everything around them, including the marriage, because 80% of divorces are filed by women. So they'll destroy the marriage, the lives of their own children, and for no other reason than to just be evil. Just to be evil. Like, how twisted do you have to be to relegate and sacrifice your children on the altar of this foolishness? Like, how I can't imagine being that angry at a person to where I'm going to weaponize the child that I created with this person and use them as a way to enact all of my evil and wickedness and hatred. I'm gonna bring the child and make them party to this. How you relegate your child and sacrifice your children on the altar of chaos, confusion, and perversion? How you do that? I want to read to you guys a post. And this post is from Jeffrey Younger, the father in this story. And I think I have his tweet here. Let me see. Is this it? Nope. It's over here. I thought I had it. Where did I put it? It's Tim McBride. Maybe I don't. Wait a minute. Let me see. I thought I had this tweet, you guys. I probably don't. I have it written down, but I just wanted to show you the graphic. Y'all, when I read this broke my heart. This absolutely broke my heart, and it compelled me to publicly talk about this. Because you see, your apostate Democrat preacher, he's not going to tell you this. He's not going to tell you that these are the things that are going on and why, at this point, you can't claim the name of Christ and support this party. So let me go ahead and read this post. It reads, my ex-wife is transitioning my son James to a girl. For 11 years, I have opposed it in family court. Texas Judge Mary Brown stripped me of my parental rights. She allowed my ex to move my sons to California so James could be transitioned. Justice Jimmy Blaylock, writing for the Supreme Court of Texas, ruled against my appeal, condemning my son to a life of lies and despair. California Judge Mark Juhas stripped me of all procedural rights to a fair trial. Soon, my son will be sterilized and later castrated. I cannot visit or call my sons. These letters are breadcrumbs for them. I still love you. I have not forgotten you. Son, you over there having a whole conversation with yourself. Be quiet. It says, I cannot visit or call my sons. These letters are breadcrumbs for them. I still love you. I have not forgotten you. I did not abandon you. I am still here for you. So now what I want to do, that was the post. And what was so heartwarming about this is that this father is doing everything that he knows in his human capacity to do, appealing to the magistrate. They obviously are not advocating for him. He's on Twitter, ran for office. But I think what I'm about to read to you guys is very powerful. And it is my prayer that somehow, some way, that the Lord would intervene and that this whole situation, it looks bad. But this is going to be used for James's good and for God's glory. I don't know how. But I want to read you guys this letter that the father, Jeffrey, wrote to his sons. It says, Dear James and Jude, we likely will not see one another until you are of age. Now you are both 12 years old. You are entering the age of accountability. More is expected of young men than of boys. Children simply do as they are told. Young men do as they ought. Merely doing a task is no longer enough. Young men discern what are the right task. Adults go farther still to prudence. This discerns what is the right sequence of task, the right course of action, or the right direction of life. That is for when you are older. Let's stay with your time of life. He goes on to say, how can you determine what are the right risks? A good first step is to think on the character of young men, their virtues and vices. Learn what the stumbling blocks are. Then you can avoid them. The nature of young men. Young men's personalities are like a cable. Impulsive emotions pull one way. Reason pulls in the other. Youth seek noble things, but act out of passions rather than interests. Because they lack the hard reality of setbacks, young men are optimistic and hopeful. This hopefulness is imagined as honor rather than service. Recognition and being generally loved are more important than money. This idealism leads young men to think in absolutes in everything. That line was so powerful to me. If you have a man in your life and there are a masculine man, you know that statement to be true. This idealism leads young men to think in absolutes in everything. Matters of degree are never to be found. They love or they hate. They play or they pull. They speak or they leave. A quick temper is the mark of youth. Their love of honor leads them to quarrel easily and often. This shows that young men are brave. They overestimate their abilities and underestimate the dangers. The young man is generous. They care less about money than older men. Hope leads them to believe that more is just around the corner, so sharing is easy. This mutual generosity breeds close friendships. The rationality of young men. He says, young men have developed reason in all four kinds: imagination, decision, discourse, and demonstration. They can think through matters. Young men have the great advantage of active and unlimited imaginations. The weight of conformity has not stifled their inner life. I am making big assumptions. Schools are imagination destroyers. Some young men have weak spirits or spirits that are too literal. They have their imaginations molded into foreign shapes. They find their inner life does not match their temperament. Like a carpenter with a misshapen tool, life is hard thereafter. But you are both spirited. James more so than Jude. Yet Jude is less literal, seeing the depth of things. Seeing into the depths allows you to see more possibilities. Your imagination is the faculty of possibilities. Here are some ways to exercise your imaginative capacities. He says, study geometry. The geometer imagines perfect forms. The forms suggest possibilities. You prove or disprove those possibilities. He says, read widely and diversely, especially read old and foreign books. The different perspectives also show new possibilities. Pretend. Imagine that something is different than it is. What would the world be like? Do lots of pretending. Play individual sports. Never underestimate the power of the body to suggest possibilities. You don't have to be a natural athlete to play a sport. Play archery, rifle, marksmanship, badminton, and the like. Young men are allowed and expected to make decisions. You are old enough to judge some matters. Only some matters, those that can be known by verisimilitude. Here are some good ways to improve your decision making. Play team sports. Team sports require both planned and impromptu decisions under pressure. A good coach will show you how to do it. You need not be a superman. Play volleyball, ultimate, frisbee, flag football, badminton, doubles, rowing. Read deliberative works. Many books present an author trying to come to a decision. You can find great speeches that do the same. Read things like the Persian Expedition by Xenophon, Cicero's Third Catiline Invective, Edmund Burke's Reflections on the Revolution in France, the Federalist Papers, and the Anti-Federalist Papers. You can find others. Pretend. Imagine yourself commanding Napoleon's army at Austerlitz. What would you do? Put yourself in other situations and see how you fare. Talking to others is a kind of reasoning. You can appreciate different opinions. More importantly, you can discern the different worldview and character that gives rise to these opinions. Discuss with your friends. Judge the quality of movies and stories and even people. Talk about school lessons and school events. Notice character. Do not just ask, why does he believe or do that? Ask instead, what kind of person would want to believe or do that? This will give you insights for a lifetime. Be persuasive. Notice what convinces people and what does not. I hope this advice helps you, my sons. I miss you. I think on our future, far away, when we will shake hands as men. With love, Jeff Younger, your father. Whew, didn't expect it to hit me like that. You guys, I read that story, that letter from the father, and yes, it was long, because this is reflective of a man that loves his children. And the magistrates, the twisted, perverse people who've been elected and appointed to enact justice in our world, has deemed that this man should not have access to his children, but rather his ex-wife, who in some sort of pseudo-intellectualism is delusional enough to, instead of helping the son who may have, at 3 years old, determined that he felt like a girl that day, has now relegated his life and she has committed him to this path of difficulty and despair and destruction, all because of her own ambition. I told you she's a pediatrician, right? And if I'm not mistaken, this woman has a vested interest in sacrificing her child in order to be one of the, groundbreaking medical professionals in this area of gender identity, using one of her children. It's almost like this is like a science experiment to her. I've got twin boys, both are boys, but one we might be able, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in her mind other than the fact that she's dead in her sin. And there's something psychologically going on there that at 3, the father is saying he doesn't act this way with me, only when he's with you. And somehow the courts deemed her the better parent. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. We don't know what days are like for Jeffrey Younger. We don't know how he wakes up and is able to function every day and maintain employment and do what needs to be done, despite the fact that he has been without his children. Because a wicked and perverse generation has said that gender identity is fluid. It is not static and fixed and knowable and verifiable. No, it's relative. It's how you feel inside, right? People's lives are being ruined because we'd rather lie to them and present falsehoods of alternate realities, not being concerned about the person's spiritual well-being or how this is going to affect them long-term in their actual lives. Families are being destroyed over this. It's being weaponized in cases of family dissolution or the dissolution of a marriage and divorce. It is a very wicked agenda that I wanted to highlight. And I wanted to be a voice and to be an advocate as a Christian to say, James, one day you're going to grow up. My girls are 12 and you may never see this, or you might, but my heart goes out to you. You have an amazing father. A good man documents this type of wisdom and insight for his children when he can't live with them every day to impart this to them. This is what fathers do. They create order. They set healthy boundaries. They love you enough to explore what it means to go through the growing pains of life, also that you can learn the appropriate lessons, but putting the proper guardrails in place because they are natural born protectors. What this woman, the mother, is doing is both reckless and harmless, but the courts can't see that. And all they care about is the fact that this woman is going full steam ahead with her delusion. And then as a result, they just are going along with it. She is now taking those children to California, and Lord knows, we don't know if and when, if the Lord is able to somehow sovereignly get to James, even as a 12-year-old, for him to be like, you know what, this is enough. I don't want to do this. This is your thing, but you crazy, and I'm going back to my daddy. Like the time, you can't get time back. Like I woke up and my girls are taller than me. I don't know when that happened. Like one day we were both here and now like I'm the shortest person in this house. Now that's not hard to do, but I'm just saying you can't get time back. These times of development that this woman is essentially stripped this man from is very wicked and painful. But him recording, he writes letters to them that she's not obligated to give them. And in her wickedness, I am pretty sure she isn't. But one day, one day, they are going to know the truth. And the son that she is transitioning, apart from God arresting his heart, he is going to have a level of hatred and contempt for her that I hope and pray doesn't lead him to do the unthinkable. I'm not trying to speak that and say or encourage that. I am just saying it takes incredible restraint. Like in situations like this is how women end up missing. Do y'all remember back in the early 2000s, the DC sniper, the black guy who was like offing people in the DMV area? Y'all remember that? I remember that. Well, I did not realize that, okay, yeah, dude was crazy and he had some contempt for white people, but his deletion spree had nothing to do with the people he targeted. You know what set him off? What set him off was his ex-wife took his children from him and moved away. Now, I'm not saying it was right or expedient for what he did, because he will pay. Well, he paid for his crimes. He died by lethal injection a couple of years ago. But the point I'm making is this type of government intervention and nefarious decisions on behalf of children. And when women are selfish and self-serving and narcissistic and only caring about their wants and their needs, you get situations like the DC sniper. The DC sniper admitted that the ex-wife was the target, but his motive, they wouldn't have taken serious that he was just some estranged husband if he had just gone. He said it would have been too obvious if he would have just gone ahead and deleted her. So what he had to do, he needed a smoke screen. And if they assumed that it was just a random serial killer, it would take the smoke off of him and they'd be looking to try to find a pattern between why he would delete the ex-wife and then all of these other random people that were all unrelated from different walks of life. That's why he did it. That's why he did. That set him off. It's only because of the grace of God that there are so many men who've not done worse. And I'm not saying that's right. We don't enact justice. God avenges. We don't do vengeance. We don't do that. I'm just saying, do you see where this leads? This is destructive. It is hurting families, and society is in a perpetual orbit of chaos because there's one particular party that is supporting this foolishness, participating in the sin of tolerance, and they think this is a game. That if we just go along with the make-believe, pretend cosplay, that men can be women if they choose to, and that women can decide one day to be a man, this is what you get. You get the destruction of the created order, an assault on the Imago Dei, destruction of the family, and lives ruined and destroyed, some permanently, because once you castrate yourself, there's no going back. Have you ever listened to the testimonies of some of these detransitioners who talk about the pain and the agony and the struggle of trying to live as their actual authentic self now that they've woken up out of their delusion and how they were pressured to transition as children, their lives are not easy. And so many of them live in a perpetual state of depression because they're like, if somebody would have told me this is what it's going to be like, I would have been like, yeah, I'm just playing. So I shared this because I think it's important for the people of God to be aware of what's going on, to understand the implications of your worldview, and that if you are a Christian, you can't just decide, well, I'm a Democrat, but I don't believe all that. It rises and falls with the party. If you claim that you don't have any loyalty to them, be an independent and stop supporting this mess, because you will be held accountable. And I don't want to have to keep reporting this mess to educate you, but the slow ones in the back don't think that this is a real threat, and it is. You can't have a healthy, functional society where families are the basis of it. Healthy societies, you need healthy families to be the bedrock of that. Well, you can't get families like this. You won't have families supporting legislation like this. And it starts with something simple as, oh, we have our first trans congresswoman. Yay, look at that. Who's that hurting? What are you afraid of? This? Because her first order of business, or his first order of business, had there been control of the House and the Senate, would have been full steam ahead. Like, oh, well, we need bathrooms in the Capitol for, we need to be able to use whatever bathroom we want. And the next thing is, if you in the stall and we just feel compelled to use your stall, we don't care that you in it. We just gonna debo our way in because of rights, right? Because they're marginalized, right? No. But anyway, let me get to these super chats. I have a few. E&T Shop, how are you this evening? He says, Dr. John Money is the blame for all trans confusion. I need to look up Dr. John Money. I have never heard that name, and I am so grateful when you guys educate me and put me on to new information. I'm going to look into Dr. John Money. We may need to do a part 2 to this show. Thank you, ENT Shop. Brother Bob, how are you? He says, hi, April. Doesn't the T in TULIP stand for total depravity of man? I'm not a Calvinist, but I tend to agree. God flooded the earth and man messed it up again. Yeah, so according to the Reformed tradition in Calvinist soteriology, the T in the TULIP does stand for total depravity. Total depravity, unconditional election, limited atonement. TULI. What's the I? Limited atonement. I forgot. Perseverance of the saints is the P. What is the I? Unlimited atonement. Oh, Lord, don't give me the line. I'm sorry. I think I might have COVID. I don't know. But I haven't been feeling good all day. Started with a sore throat. Then I had some chills, a little bit of fever. So my brain is done. But yes, you are right, Brother Bob. You are absolutely, brother. You are right. He says, April, I exchanged some texts with Benny Johnson. How cool is that? Yay. Suggested he bring you on. Told him, awesome Christian woman, powerful message, expressions like a ratchet tank. Oh, you are my new bestie. How cool would that be if I got an email from Benny Johnson telling my girl, when you coming on? I would absolutely love that. I was on Stephen Gardner. And at that show, you guys has gained that show has gotten over 800,000 views between YouTube and Rumble combined. God was so gracious in that 35 minutes of what I had to say, I had to cram it all in one time, but I had to let these people know this is who I am, this is what I believe, this is what I stand for, and this is what it all means to you. So, hey, Benny Johnson could be next. I don't know. But speaking of, I want to share with you guys a trailer. I'm going to share this trailer with you guys. And when I come back, stay tuned. I want you to watch it because after I show it, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Take a look at this.
What you represent, your presence here, that the largest multi-day event in conservative grassroots history. Is a message that will be heard by these people.
Phoenix, Arizona, people from all over the country.
It's quite remarkable because it brings everybody
One
together.
of my favorite of the year.
Energy, the left doesn't want you to see it.
The stakes are high. We have only begun to fight.
So, you guys, I wanted to show that trailer of the AmeriFest conference that's taking place next month. I actually will be at AmeriFest. AmeriFest takes place December 19th through the 22nd, and it is one of the largest conservative gatherings of young people like to date. Like Charlie Kirk is doing some amazing things with Turning Point. I do believe that Donald Trump's win and his victory and path to the White House had a lot to do with the grassroots work of what Charlie Kirk and his organization over at Turning Point has done. We had Turning Point Action, which, I mean, here in Georgia, they had so many events and they knocked on a lot of doors, and they really put their feet to the fire and their money where their mouth was and actively worked to change the tide of the culture to where he won. I think it was a collective effort between individuals like Charlie Kirk and myself and Vince Everett Ellison and Chad Jackson and Black Conservative Perspective and Anthony Brian Logan, like just so many YouTubers and content creators and influencers who were not paid, by the way, Roland Martin and Al Sharpton. Yeah, like we just did it for the pure love of the game. Like you don't got to pay people to authentically share how they feel about a particular policy platform or a candidate. We kind of just do that because it's natural and authentic. But unlike our Democrat Jerome Crow Negroes, they were paid hefty amounts of money to manufacture loyalty and love and support for the Curvy Queen, Kamala Harris. And so I showed you guys that trailer because I will be in Phoenix December 19th through the 22nd. And I want to ask you guys, because I have an idea of something that I want to do out there. I have an opportunity. I have access to a studio out there that is amazing. Okay, like I'm talking like amazing. And I have the opportunity to, in front of a live studio audience, to do an episode of the Standard of Truth podcast or a panel discussion with some other content creators and influencers. And I just need to know how many of you guys are either planning to go to AmeriFest, didn't know about AmeriFest, and now you want to go to AmeriFest, or you like, hey, I'm not that far from Phoenix. I'm right here in Las Vegas, or I'm here in Texas, or I'm here in Cali. I would come to that event, especially if I could do a meet and greet, come see you, and do a live podcast recording in front of a live audience. I don't have a lot of time to plan this. So I need you guys to tell me, either shoot me an email or go to my website or drop it in the live chat or in the description of this video, or just let me know, send me a smoke signal or something. I might just do an email blast asking you guys how many of you guys are on the West Coast and would come, because if enough of you are going to, make your way to Arizona, or you're already going to be at AmeriFest, or you go to AmeriFest on the 21st, that Saturday night at 7:30, tentatively, about 15 minutes from the convention center, I want to have a gathering with like a meet and greet and a live podcast recording. In like this studio is amazing, you guys. I mean, it's got a full LED screen on the stage, lights, camera. Like, I don't have to do anything other than just show up. I've been blessed to have some amazing friends in the Phoenix area. Shout out to the big homie, Michael Williams, who advised that he could handle that for me. And I'd have the sound engineers, I'd have everything that I need. I just need y'all to show up. And so I would reach out to some fellow content creators and influencers who I would like to join me there. But I need to know from you, because we can't be in the audience talking to ourselves. Like, we kind of want to do it in front of y'all, meet and greet y'all, and have a great time. And then just to do an autopsy and to decompress from everything that has happened this election season. And then to get our marching orders, our clarion call for, okay, now that Trump has won, now the work really begins. What do we do from here? What are Christians going to do? What are we as fellow believers and patriots and conservatives going to do going forward as we enter into 2025? So I want you guys to let me know if you'd be interested in something like that. I would put that together, and I don't have a lot of time to plan it. So I just need you guys to let me know, and then I will make that happen. Hey, Sister Deborah. Y'all, she's from the Bronx. Sorry, had to highlight this. I'm from the Bronx. That's my hometown. So, Sister Deborah, I see you. Shout out to the Boogie Down. Not sure what side of the Bronx you grew up on or you live, but I grew up what would be considered the Southeast Bronx. I hated claiming the South Bronx, but it was pretty South. Story Avenue, Bruckner Boulevard, Bronx River, that's still technically the South Bronx. But the further you get like towards Soundview, it's not as South, kinda. I mean, it ain't South Bronx like Hunts Point, South Bronx, but it's right across the bridge, so it's close enough. But anyway, oh yeah, Scott Pressler, yeah. Oh, all right, y'all, I see you. Salute. Thank you, Sister Yvette. Child, I drew a blank. I could not remember what the I was to save. I was like, it just went. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm so grateful. So grateful. Anyway, oh, I understand. Yes, oil of oregano. Listen, friend, I have colloidal silver. I have zinc, but to take zinc, I have to take it with food or else it tears my stomach up. And I ran out of oil of oregano. You were on it. That P73 strain of that oil of oregano, honey, will set you on fire, but you won't be sick no more. Brother ENT Shop is right. He's right. That combination will make you feel better. Now, in this house, we take the oil of oregano like a G. We don't mix it with the juice. We do two drops under the tongue, and you got the man up, right? Put some hair on your chest. We take it straight. Hey, hi, Bridge. Okay. All right, Sister Deborah, I see you. Is that like, listen, I ain't lived in the Bronx since 1997. I'm trying to remember where High Bridge is. Not like Williamsbridge. Where's High Bridge? Where is that? In the Bronx? High Bridge. Give me 2 train, 6 train, 5, the 4, where you at, sis? Help me out. I'm trying to picture you on the map. I have no idea where the High Bridge area is. I really don't, Sister Deborah. Yes, we do oil of oregano straight with no chase. So you just put those 2 drops under your tongue and you're going to feel like you're dying. But for you guys who don't know, oil of oregano is it's the extract of the oregano, the herb. It has an amazing ability to boost your immune system. It is also antiviral. It's I think it might be anti-parasitic too. But listen, it got me through my first few bouts of the C19. Oil of oregano, colloidal silver, zinc, quercetin, What else did I take? Lots of vitamin C. I'm talking about like 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C. I had to high dose on it. I know what to do, but to be honest, ENT shop, this time of year, if I get sick, it's always because I'm going too hard. I'm not taking time to rest, and the Lord lays me on my back because He knows that's the only way I'm going to rest. I work a lot of hours. I don't get adequate sleep. And because I'm going through other hormonal issues, I have insomnia. So it could be 4:00 in the morning and I'm working. I'm doing something. And my husband gets up at 4 to go to work, and I'm just coming to bed like, oh, shoot, I'm tired. He's just like, really? Like, what are you doing? I can't sleep. So anyway, yeah. Oh, Deacon Expressway, the 4 train. Okay, I know where that is. Oh, I know exactly where that is. Okay. Thank you, girl. I never knew that's what that was called. Never knew that. Child, the things you grow up in a place your whole life. I was today years old. I didn't know that area was called High Bridge. I got you off the Major Deacon. When I was little, I used to call it the Major Deacon. Anyway, yes, Avalon, you must restart. I will chop this live stream up into smaller chunks so you're not completely overwhelmed. The 4 train. Yeah, girl. I used to take the 4 Westchester Ave and go to the library in Parkchester, and those were the good old days. You won't catch me dead on New York City public transportation now. I'm too Southern. I'm too Southern. I'd be talking to everybody. They'd be like, "You not from here." I'd be talking to everybody. "Hey, good morning." Nobody does that in New York. Down here, you just be like, "Oh, have a good one." New York, they be like, "Why is she so happy?" Just different. It's different life. I don't know. Anyway, y'all, last thing. I really need to take next week off. Y'all don't feel good. I feel sick. And I feel sick. Okay. So in light of that, what I'm going to do is, y'all may not see me next week. I may just spend that time. I got to bust the kitchen down and make it do what it do for Thanksgiving. Gonna do some mac and cheese. I don't know if I'm gonna do a ham. And instead of a whole turkey, I might just do turkey legs and wings because I absolutely hate the whole turkey. No one eats it. I'm going to do some collards, some candy yams. No, I'm doing sweet potato casserole. I'm not going to do candy yams. I'll do sweet potato casserole. I think the morning of Thanksgiving, I will do some cinnamon rolls for brunch or a French toast casserole. Haven't decided yet. French toast casserole is much easier. Them cinnamon rolls is labor intensive. I'll also, did we do corned beef last year? I might do a corned beef. I don't know. And field peas. So I got turned on to field peas when I was a member over at Berean. I was only aware of black-eyed peas, and I hated black-eyed peas as a child because I thought they tasted like chalk. But my fellowship group at Berean, honey, them ladies can burn. And I remember the first time I tasted field peas, I was like, well, what is this? And I've been hooked ever since. Field peas and snaps. So what it is, it's field peas, which I don't know the difference between field peas and crowder peas, but they're not black-eyed peas. There's 3 different kinds of peas. But you mix them with green beans, not a lot of green beans, just a few, just the snaps, the ends of the fresh green beans, and you put you some smoked turkey in there, and honey, listen, Linda, you talking about some good eating? Yes. So we'll do field peas. I might do a pot roast. That's what we'll do. So we'll do a ham. We'll do ham, some smoked turkey, and pot roast. Those will be my meats. And baked macaroni and cheese, sweet potato casserole, and I think I'm going to do some deviled eggs. My girls, I've never made deviled eggs for my family, and I want to teach the girls how to make them, and so we might do that. That's labor intensive. Shoot, eggs is expensive. I don't know. In Biden's economy, we may not do deviled eggs till next Thanksgiving when Trump's back in office and them eggs come down, because I buy cage-free organic eggs and those be like $8 and that's too much. So, oh, you on PTO next week? Hey, Connie, so good to see you, girl. I'm glad you are in. No colllards in the tub. Now, we don't do that. We don't do that. My kids like collard greens. We might do, I normally do collards and cabbage. We'll do that. And then for dessert, listen, they on their own with dessert. I am not, especially I'm on this no sugar thing. I can't eat it anyway. And I'm not a baker. If I do a dessert, it's going to be something simple like white chocolate bread pudding, which you just mix it up, break up the bread, and that's it. You really can't mess that up. But cakes, you ain't going to get no cake out of me. I mean, it'll taste good, but it's going to look ugly. It's going to look ugly because the house be loud, and it's too much precision with baking. So y'all don't want to eat a cake that I made. I can make it, and it's not going to taste bad. It's not pretty, and the whole experience of eating baked goods, it needs to be presentable. And if it don't look good on the plate, I can't serve it. I can do, like I said, some cinnamon rolls. I can do, and cornbread. We'll do cornbread from scratch. Love corn. Oh, shoot, I got to order my cornmeal now. Because if I don't, we ain't going to have it in time. I don't use, we have sensitivities in this house. So I always buy my non-GMO cornmeal. You have to buy that from Amazon. And it's hard to find. So if I don't order that now, we may not have any cornbread because I need that. I need that cornbread for the dressing and the cornbread. That's too much corn. Should I do cornbread and cornbread dressing? Y'all don't think that's too much? What y'all think? Yeah, no collards in the tub. Frosting bag to fill your eggs. Save time and effort, and it's neater and looks fancier. Thank you, Amanda. That is a really good plan. Put it in and I have a frosting bag. I absolutely do. Add something green to that menu. The collards. Crystal, we'll do the collards. Okay, green beans. We'll do green beans and collards. That's 2 greens. Green beans and peach cobbler. Listen. Yeah, no, Jiffy is no good. It's not. It is a that is a Frankenfood. Have you ever read the ingredient list of that Jiffy corn mix? Cornbread from scratch is so easy. It's really not that convenient to get the Jiffy corn mix. If you make your cornbread from scratch, get your non-GMO cornmeal, egg, baking powder, salt, sugar, milk, and butter. That's it. That's cornbread. Just a few extra ingredients. I mean, if you do Jiffy, you still got it. Don't you still have to add oil and an egg and milk anyway? It's the same thing. So, and it's a Frankenfood. Child, that cornbread have you twitching eventually. You be like, you start tweaking. Nuh-uh. Right. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, vitamin D and magnesium. Okay, I have magnesium and I got my vitamin D3 and K2. So I'll do that. Do rolls. Crystal, honey, listen. This is not the year for me to try to be ambitious. I told you, girl, I can't bake. It's too much precision, and rolls requires precision and time that I don't have. The rest of this stuff, I can cook with my eyes closed and don't need a recipe. I need the recipe for the rolls. We doing cornbread. I'm sorry. I can't do rolls. I can't. Cornbread with now, I've never had cornbread with bacon bits. In the cornbread. You from the South, Chris? Where you from? Where your people from, Chris? Because that sounds like something folks in Chicago might do or Mississippi. I don't know. I've heard putting bacon grease, but not the bacon bits. And I've had jalapeno cornbread and I've had broccoli cornbread, but I ain't never had cornbread with the bacon bits in it. That's a new one. Yeah, rolls are too much, Chris. I ain't gonna do it. I like non-sweet cornmeal to mush in greens. Actually, I like my cornbread sweet, but not Jiffy sweet. I have to add oil and egg to Jiffy. See, right, well, my cornbread, I cook with butter, like actual butter, not margarine, not I can't believe it's not butter, not sometimes butter, butter, where the only ingredient is sweet cream and salt. That's it. You can buy Sister Schubert rolls. Who is Sister cornbread. What church she go to? Oh, you're from Arkansas? Okay. I don't know. Maybe that's how your people do it in Arkansas. I ain't never heard of cornbread with a bacon bits in it. That's a new one. Okay. All right, y'all. What time is it? Oh, it's 11 o'clock. Time for me to dip. It's late. Y'all pray for me. I don't feel good. I think I have COVID or something, some derivative of it. And I need rest. So as much as I want to come to y'all on Friday, if I'm not feeling better, y'all ain't going to see me on Friday. Just saying. Love you guys with the love of the Lord. Go ahead and grab this while you're at it. My 30-day gratitude challenge. If you visit standardhomeandliving.com and go under the studies tab, it is like $3.99 for this instant download. It will bless your life. Between now and the end of December, it'll just help you recenter yourself on what it means to walk in a spirit of gratitude. I cranked this out for you guys. I wanted you to have something, some little small gift as a token of my appreciation for following the channel and just to give you back something. And if you're like, hey girl, this is Biden's economy, I can't support you, but I could do $3.99, like $3.99, then this is for you. Go ahead and grab it. It's an instant download. And you will absolutely bless your soul. Memphis, Tennessee in the building. Listen, I was just in Memphis. It wasn't even a month ago, brother E.T. Believe it or not, I didn't go to the common parts, but I liked Memphis. I went to this steakhouse restaurant. What was that steakhouse called? Man, listen. They had, what did I eat? Was it the sea bass? I don't remember. It was a nice steakhouse. Really nice. And I was like, Memphis has been good to me. Memphis has such a rich history. Drove by Graceland. Didn't get to go in because it was closed by the time we got there. Oh, I have a cold? Probably. I don't know. I just know I don't feel good. I don't feel like myself at all. Yes, but Memphis, I will be going back to Memphis soon. I'm going outside of Memphis to finish my book in a small little town outside of Brownsville called, I forgot, but I'm going to the Green Frog. And I'm staying at a cabin with no TV. They don't have no internet either. But I'm going there to finish my book because I felt so at peace there and just it was nobody there to bother me. There were no distractions. It's in a little cabin with it's real primitive, but it was nice. Loved it. Going there to finish my book. So I might holler at you when I'm up those parts. I made it out of Memphis a lot. Girl, I said I wasn't in the common parts. I was around. I don't know where I was, but I felt fine. It wasn't really the hood, except around Graceland. Graceland was a little sketchy. I was like, this looked like the hood. I was like, I don't think it was always that way. I think the hood just sprouted around Graceland, but that was as common as it got when I was in Memphis. I was more, I know I was in Germantown for a while. And then, where else was I? It was nice. I had nothing bad to say about Memphis. I really did not. Alexander Steakhouse? No, it was not Alexander. It was, I'll tell you the name of it. This place, I'm not gonna lie, I gotta go back. I have to go back. It was called, where are we at? Almost there. Where was it? I took a picture of the menu. Where'd it go? Nope, that's not it. I took a picture of what I ate. Does that count? Probably not. Porch and Parlor. Porch and Parlor. That's where I went. told you I took a picture of the menu. I almost ate myself out of house and home, but it was good. Oh my goodness. That menu was good. Porch and Parlor. If you are ever in Memphis, Tennessee, you have got to go there. Super nice. Porch and Parlor. Parlor, Memphis. The orangutan spread out. Ginger ale, no, that's sugar. I can't have no sugar. I am going to lay down. I am. Porch and Parlor was on Madison Ave in Memphis, located in Overton Square. And it was so nice. Keep it simple. Folks spend too much time in the kitchen. They can't enjoy the meal with loved ones. You are so right. I'd be dog tired. And then I'm full because I've been tasting the whole time. Girl, this ain't had nothing on Ruth's Chris. This place made Ruth's Chris look like Aunt Bertha's. Porch and Parlor was next level. Okay, it was next level bougie. Okay, and I was there for all of it. Yeah. Oh, you have twins too? I have twins. Oh, girl, 30 years ago you would lies. You do not have children born 30 years ago. That is insane, Mahogany. Wow. Okay. No, my girls they 12. Okay. And I'm going through it. Pray. Stretch out your hand and pray for me. I am going through it. I really am. Anyway. All right, y'all. Don't forget to grab your digital download. And I think that was all I had to say. Let me let y'all go. Pray for my healing. Yes. I just really need to be quiet. I'll take your word for it. Memphis too scary. I can see that. But the airport area was nice. And I have friends that are there in Memphis and in Jackson. And so I felt just fine. Brownsville, Tennessee. Now, believe it or not, I liked Brownsville. I like small, quaint towns that are full of history and nostalgia, where everybody knows everybody. Bourbon. Now, I can give me a hot toddy now. You ain't saying nothing but a word. Listen, Connie. Okay, sis. What time is it? It's too late for Uber Eats, and I ain't leaving the house. I can't do it. So anyway, let me let y'all go. Y'all keep typing in the chat. I'm going to keep going. So anyway, not true. They talk about your town, ENT shop. Don't let them rag on your town like that. Like, I can rag on the Bronx, but I don't let other people talk bad about the Bronx. Now, I might, depending on how I feel, I might co-sign with what they're saying about the Bronx, but it can't come from them. I have to say that the Bronx is trash. You can't. It's not how this works. Anyway, I love you guys. Until next time, grace and peace.